How's it going, everybody? It is Shady's on Broadway here, and wanted to come at you guys with a nice little live auto rank commentary game. I know that this is something that the YouTube algorithm tends to like quite a bit, and current content situation. Actually, I don't even need these headsets because I'm not listening to music or anything. Um, but current situation is that I'm trying to hear back from an editor to give you guys some kind of like more streamlined tutorial based content, commentary based content. But as far as like gameplay, playing out a game, giving you guys a live game, that's something I can do kind of on the fly. Not too much editing being needed, of course. Um, I'm just gonna turn down my fan a little bit, so hopefully the audio background is not as bad. But yeah, we have a live game here, and for those of you that don't know me, my name is Shady's on Broadway, or more commonly known in the online scene as The Giver. I've played in the online Catan space for a good 5 years now, or coming up close to 5 years now, playing in all sorts of different competitions and servers. Um, but I'll give a more in-depth explanation later for those of you that don't know me. But for now, let's look at the board and decide where we're going to be placing. So we are playing as green here in the second position. We see that blue places on the 693. That's quite a good spot for them. Obviously, strong, weak, good 3-to-1 port. Now, when I look at this board, I do recognize that 843 is going to be my pick more than likely. The reason being is I have good outs, right? We evaluate our spots and our options, and we see that there are going to be a lot of wheat and sheep spots available to grab. So I'll take the 843 and then describe it a little bit more, because I know like when you enter the game of Catan, your placements make up a large majority of how the rest of your game is going to proceed and how the rest of your game is going to go. So to give you a little bit of perspective of how I place here in second, and it's always going to vary based on boards, based on numbers, based on players, but there are a couple of rules that you can use effectively to win a lot of games, right? The first thing you look for is resource diversity. So you'll notice that the ore is 12, 6, and 8. So if I do not take this ore on the 8, I am not going to be getting ore on the way back as the second player. Which is why, generally speaking, ore is the most important resource if you can pair it with wheat. And first and second, as a given rule, generally lock up the ore if possible, because what you compromise in first and second position is flexibility. What you gain in return, however, in first and second position is the choice of where you go, usually solidifying the stronger picks on the board. So third and fourth have to compromise a weaker setup generally, but with more flexibility in the way that they can expand, in the way that they can branch out, evaluate the board, look at their options, and see the way that they want to play and the way that they want to look at things on any given turn or basis. I can make my face a little bit bigger if we want, but honestly, we don't really need to. We'll just adjust that for, because yeah, I mean the screen is good enough as it is. I'll eventually figure out a green screen, figure out the background here. But the idea behind going 8-4-3 is that we look at the wood to brick ratio, which is going to be around average. It is doubled on fours, which is not great. One thing that I stress a lot, and you won't hear this from a lot of people online or content creators, is I do not like auto rank in the sense that I think that you get a genuine Catan experience out of it. But there are a couple of clear fundamentals that you have to apply when you play online game, for the most part without any communication. You might have a couple of texts, a couple of trades, but there's clear defined rules that you must follow. One of which, in my opinion, is securing yourself a 3-to-1 port. Give or take in any given game, your odds of winning without a port are probably 50% less. But with a 3-to-1 in particular, your options are a lot more flexible. Given the reason why, especially that ore and wheat tend to be more favorable in auto rank games, is because you get to play a development card strategy, which allows you to react more on what you do as a player. Whereas road strategies tend to require more cooperation in the sense that you're passing off road materials to other players, or having to trade a lot more to get the ore. Whereas as a ore wheat sheep player, you might pull something like a Road Builder or Monopoly, a Year of Plenty, and those cards will allow you to move around the board, not necessarily requiring much cooperation from other players. So we do see a 956 being selected in third as orange, which is really good production-wise, but they're going to be struggling here with their second pick. It's more than likely going to have to be the 843, but they can, however, play off the sheep port to make up for the fact that they don't make a lot of ore. And generally what this is going to mean is that we are now going to get the next pick, and it is going to be the 611-3 to the right, more than likely. There is another idea. Oh, okay. Well, let me... let's take a step back here. So we have to make a prediction, it's a pretty safe one, right? We want sheep for our game. So ideally, we want to take 611-3 here. The reason this is, right, and we're playing in second, which means we're now placing in seventh. We know that blue needs sheep to pair with their ore wheat sheep strategy. So if we place here to 612-11, that gives them 611-3 and this entire middle space that we really don't want to compromise. However, if we take 611-3 here, that tells blue, essentially my options are, I take this dead zone spot, which locks me out of my expansion spot, or I take 612-11, which gives me the sheep that I need with the port that I need. So that's really something. You could also do this, but this is just not applicable. I'm not really going to talk about that much. So the reason why, again, this is safe is if blue opts to take either of these spots, they compromise their own expansion. Whereas now we're essentially leaving open what we would call a race. They're going to be forced to take 612-11 in a optimal position. And again, the reason being is they need the sheep that goes with their ore wheat sheep strategy. And it's not bad. You're banking a lot on the sixes. And of course, the risk associated with banking on sixes is if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the benefit to us is that we now own a triple shared hex, which means that the only player blocking it is going to be red. So we notice within the first couple of rolls here that there is a wood to spare, potentially. So we're going to try to push for that. We're also going to try to push for a wheat. Now, these trades probably don't go through, but it's important to leave them on the table as a possibility. So you see that blue snaps this, which effectively turns their hand into a road and an ore in there. So that's cool. We're going to let blue do their thing. The reason I want to grab a wheat early is wheat is very hard for us to get. Now, we don't want to overextend and fight for this middle. Ideally, of course, we want 11, 9, 10. That helps our game quite a bit. But we don't want to pump the road if blue is going to get it before us. So if we evaluate the board with the positions down, we recognize that the way that we have to play this game out is we need to get a settlement on this 8 with the 3-1. That's going to be a priority, not necessarily priority 1, but within the first 2 or 3 things we have to do this game. The main priority would be to secure the 9, 11, 10 spot. Now, how we're going to be doing that without wood is going to be a little bit tricky, as we see red is starting to come out here, challenging this spot. We would hope they're not challenging the 3-1, but they do want to get the coordinated 8s. So that's another thing that is pretty significant, I would say. A good portion of the time is number coordination. If you get a coordination on wood or brick with a strong number, you tend to get a really favorable position a lot of the times. Now, I don't feel comfortable passing on 6, so I am going to purchase a development card. We actually pull Row Builder, which I would say is the best case scenario. A lot of people devalue the Row Builder card. I am actually the complete opposite, and I find that outside of the Monopoly, that the Row Builder card is actually the strongest card in the development card deck. Which again, hot take, you're not going to hear, if you continue to watch these commentaries and videos that I post, you're going to hear a lot of takes that you won't necessarily hear from other people. But that's all part of the fun, right? You get to hear a little bit of a unique perspective. So Orange is going to be getting a very early city or settlement here. Red's going to be probably throwing it on the 6 here because it's a mutual shared block. Orange getting on the sheep port is actually really strong. I'm just going to throw out a comment. I think you should be the Rob brother. But yeah, so Orange gets a really nice, strong sheep port, and they're going to be getting a road settle on 10-9. Hard part with Orange is they don't make their own ore, and they don't necessarily have a road network. Strength of Orange's setup is that they're very flexible for what we call BTT, which stands for build to 10. Yeah, Orange is looking good. So thankfully, Blue is on my side there. Red, you are not challenging my 3-1, are you? Okay, I should have waited to ask questions. You don't want to talk too much in auto. And if you do, you want to make sure it's very light. But we seem to have a nice vocal table, which is not always the case. That's not something that always happens. So that trade's not going to go through. We can hold. I actually don't mind him being on the 8. I mean, it gives him a really strong or sheep setup, of course, but we really need to get a settlement going because our game is really slow without these 3s. Okay, back to back 2. I'm going to still try to offload our hand here. I don't think there's any wood out there, but again, we just have to try, right? Yeah, I'm just going to pass it up. No problem. We might have to do a 4-1 with the way these 4s are rolling. We really just want to roll a 3. But again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the road builder to get the settlement on 9, 10, 11, which really picks up our game because we secure wheat on 2 more hexes. And then we're going to be going to the 3-1 here. Now, the 3-1 on the ore port is a emergency spot, which would be used for a point, because after we get these 2 spots, we're going to be locked out of the board. And in those types of situations, you generally need army and 2 victory points to win the game with cities. So it's kind of like a development card basis for that. Now, I don't love playing or wheat sheep. My actual preferred way to play is build to 10 or road, but with this particular game, I have to play with the setup that I'm given. So solo block goes to Orange. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but that was the bot's placement. And again, we really need to get a wheat or we need to get a wood to perform the settlement here on 9, 10, 11 to push our game. So wood is just going to be really hard to come by presently because we are all getting brick on the shared 4. So a little bit nerve-wracking that we are really far behind so far. I would put ourselves in 3rd. Blue is definitely the furthest because 3 and 6s are not really hitting. And red is looking great. I think red is going to have the best chance here. They have a potential road connect. They make coordinated 8s. They make every single resource. We are going to have to try our hardest here to hopefully roll into a card and get a settlement this turn. But that's a lot of things that we're asking for. Yeah, so blue gets the settlement. Oh, I really wish that they had waited a turn there. Okay, we really need to get a wood, but a wood is not going to stick. So what we want to do is to get a 4-1. There we go. We get a 4-1 trade to get the road, to get the settlement down. Because there's not going to be a wood for trade, right? So we 4-1, and we use the road builder to grab the settlement spot. And this spot really helps us because now our hand is flooded with ore, and we now just unlock 2 wheat tiles. Okay, now blue is going to run away with it. Yeah, so now we're just going to let them fight. One thing that I really want to stress with autos, everything is anonymous, nothing is held accountable. And that's not the website's fault, that's not the developer's fault. The way the game is played, it's anonymous. You can make a free account, as many accounts as you want. You make an email. A lot of the times you just get this stuff in the chat. You fight, and I'm guilty of it. I will admit that I'm not always innocent. I can be toxic as well. but your best strategy is to stay uninvolved in the chat unless it is something explicitly that benefits you with no risk. So these guys are kind of talking. They're at least being civil, which is unusual. It's not common. You not only get a cooperative table, but a table that is working together like this. Orange getting the city down, I think, does bump their game up slightly over red presently, because me cutting the road connect here, again, the flexibility of the sheep port is just tremendous for them. I'm just going to throw out a suggestion for blue. And we're just one wheat roll away from a city ourselves, guys. Okay. We need to try to track. I think my best odds of taking a wheat, I think I need to hit red. I think I need to hit red. Okay, there you go. I don't think red is winning. Again, I think it's orange, but in order to empty our hand and get a city down, that had to be the correct route for the best chance. I didn't know what the exact chances were for that. Again, I'm not the best card tracker, but I found that to be a effective block. So now, again, so we kind of like jumped over this. Looking at the setup that I had, my first three priorities are settlement here, and city here. So now we need to get the settlement down. If we roll into development cards, maybe we pop once or twice when we're blocked. But after we secure the settlement here, we're just going to be popping devs over and over and seeing what we pull and reactively responding to the table with what cards we pull. Which is partially, again, why the development card strategy can kind of be a little bit inconsistent. But we just have to play with what we have. Ideally here, we want to trade brick for ore with blue to give me a card. And the reason I offer this is it gives me a knight to get us unblocked. I can't take the other one. His hand is flooded with ore. I'm not going to actually mention that part yet. Okay, he buys a dev of his own. His hand is flooded with ore, though. I think he has 2 ore left in there. I don't mind giving him the trade now if he doesn't want to do it. I don't want to do 2-to-1 here, but I also don't want to be completely stuck. I think he's typing, or at least I'm trying to get a typed response. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, he wants a second card. I mean, that's stiff. I'm gonna do it. It's stiff, but that's a really good trade for him, and I get a VP out of it. Oh, that's not nice. Yeah, and the 9. Oh, yikes, yikes, yikes. I mean, I understand I needed to do like a better deal there, but I didn't pull a knight, and the 9 just keeps rolling over and over, so I don't like that at all. Yeah, I don't think he wants to trade anymore. He only has the 1 ore left. Okay, let's see how this turn goes. Everybody's going to want ore, and 6s are in, 8s are not really hitting. But again, this is the importance of the port, because now, if our 8 is not rolling and nobody's trading wood, our hand is essentially inactionable every single turn. And because we pulled a victory point, it's revealed information that we cannot respond to a block on the 8 ore. So orange gets their second. Oh, they're holding for another city, and they have 2 down cards. They're definitely a threat here. And I would even consider hitting the 9 sheep now. I hit the 5 to get the rob on orange earlier, but I would actually consider hitting 9 or 8 only now. And we want to keep red in the game, right? That's a given. It's nice that they recognize that orange is point leader. Not only point leader, but leader in game. Oh wait, blue doesn't have any ore. He just dropped city. Okay. I think, yes, we should be spending the cards to get a development card here. But I do need to secure the settlement. So I don't like doing this, but there's no wood on the table and there's no ore on the table to trade for. So I take the settlement here. It sucks because we're going to get hit on the 8 probably right away. I mean, so the thing is, orange is upset, but I do think they have a really strong position. Because with the flexibility of the port, again, you just have sheep port and you expand to 10-9 and you just, you can port your own stuff. Now at this point, because we've achieved all 3 of the goals that we wanted to accomplish this game, which was a settlement here, and city here, it is going to be buy development cards and react accordingly to what we pull. So the Monopoly is going to be a very devastating card to whoever ends up pulling it. And the reason I say that, we're going to try to get double dev here this turn if we can. Okay, I'm going to offer 2-1 for double dev if we can. Anyway, the reason I say this, though... okay, this gets pushed by orange. I could have also tried to do that for that, but anyway. I'm going to pull double knight, which is good. We want knights. The Monopoly is going to be... Sorry, let me finish my point. The Monopoly is going to be terrifying because of the coordination. Somebody is going to mono my ore when they roll the wheats themselves. And that could be an applicable thing now, actually. But yeah. So until we pull the Monopoly, you could actually say that putting it on the 8 makes sense. But red is not doing great right now. So the solo block on the 9 also makes sense. But again, until we get more information... Because orange is more than likely going to be locking up army here, which is not great. I think blue is out of the game because they have no army pacing, but that's the setup they're built with. The city on this changes things. I think now we have to respond to it, even though I think that orange is leading. I really don't want to be pulling from red here to upset him, but yeah, I just knew that was going to be a dead card. Damn it. I really needed to pull from red there. But, yeah, I'm going to try to do this to get a port. No, that's so greedy. That's so greedy. I'm going to do it. It's against my better judgment because I think I'm making him way too strong. But if nobody else is going to be trading, right? He's going to get army here, I think. Yeah. At least I have no cards to steal. Second row builder is not so good, but we can still connect, right? So now, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, we're pulling and responding. So we see that orange has 3 knights played. To beat them, we need 4 knights played, which is not necessarily the easiest thing. We now can look at a alternative win condition of winning with a road connect for 8, a city for 9, and a settlement on the 3 for 10. So I do want to look at that as a possibility. With the 8 rolling this much, I do think that it has to be a solo block right now. And I'm not going to feel bad for that. The issue is that this does not really enable my hand that well. I'm going to try to dump this ore out of my hand if I can. I mean, I can buy a dev. That's fine. Okay, we pull Monopoly. Yeah, they're right. You're the one trading with me. So what makes this tricky is if I play Road Builder, I reveal my hand. But now that I have Monopoly, it changes it a little bit because I don't necessarily need it to close the game. Okay. I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna hold. I don't know if holding is the correct play. Not for no reason, dude. I didn't know you had 4 knights. So here, exactly what I mean. We get really good dev pulls. Orange pulls 4 knights in a row. We now no longer need to pop this game. That is something that I feel like a mistake would be easily made by a lot of people. The rest of the deck is VPs of knights and then a mono or a yop somewhere, which we don't want to fish for odds. We know how the game is looking for us at this point. Orange is going to be popping. They more than likely get a knight and a non-knight there. So the way we win this game is going to be getting 2 built points and road. Based on the fact that red is not playing cards, you can suspect that they have victory points or a monopoly that they're holding, which again reinforces the fact that I think orange is minimum 1 knight there, if not 2, based on the comment that he just provided here. And what we talked about earlier, since we're the one that pulled the monopoly, we leave the 8 unrevealed because that gives us a point. If 2 8s roll in an orbit, that's 2 points for us. Then we close it out with Road Builder, Road Connect for the win. Yeah, I'm not gonna reveal the road play yet, but I feel like that is definitely something that the table needs to recognize that can come out. I can buy a development card here. What I would much rather do is get a trade for a wood. Okay, no. I think I know what I need to do. I don't like it. I am going to do this. It reveals my hand. It reveals my hand quite a bit. But now I just need to push the 2 points. And they're already communicating, hitting me over and over and over. But I feel like if I don't do that there, it becomes a weird situation. We just need to be patient. That's all it is. It's either going to be double city or city road settle on the 3. We pop if we have to, only to unblock our 8 for the coordinated 8s to pull into the monopoly. But securing road that turn, I feel like, was important because challenging to get a road of 8 is not easy. Yeah, the 10 is just such a bad block. But I'll take it. I understand it. And that's the thing, right? We fell from behind, but because of our favorable devs, we paced a little too quickly. And now we have no table cooperation. And I don't believe orange, because if he has another knight here, you move it off the 10 and hit my 8, right? I think they're on 8, settle 9, and then they're just waiting on road settle here. Oh, okay, they do play it. I take it back. Yeah, I don't know what the delay there was for. The 10 block is really, really bad. He needs to recognize that a free 8 is a free point for me. And that's really the hand that I'm playing with. Nobody should be trading him here. You're like way too strong. Put him on settle 8, and then he road settles here for 9, cities for 10, or takes another settle spot below. It's unusual that you end up with army. Excuse me. You end up with army in his setup. But that's the way that the dev cards were drawn by my hand. So, yeah. That's the way the game's going to be played out. That's a tough one. He has 8 points in his hand. Oh, he's trying to extend it. Weird. Rough 7 out. Yeah, and I think, I mean, any block that's not on the 8s are great for us because we're just waiting for 2 unblocked 8s, like I said. 2 unblocked 8s gives us 6 ore and 3 wheat, or and whatever, I can't count. Gives us 6 wheat and 6 ore. Okay, nothing we need to do here. We just hold, and we hope that there we go. I would have loved that to happen on our turn, but we take what we can get. All right, GG's then, he says. I don't know. Yeah, so there's the roll we needed. If red does not reveal mono, when blue does not reveal mono, then we have win. If either of them reveal mono, then it's another orbit or two, more than likely. But I'm thinking these are VPs in red's hand based on the actions played. So that's 8 points for them. And then if we don't 7, we win because we monopolize wheat. And build double city. Yep, good game. Mono wheat. And boom, boom. We can pop first if we want, right? I can still do that? No. Oh, wait, what the hell am I doing? Let's not throw the game here. I think I can, but I'm not. Yeah, I could have popped one with the 3 brick. GG. Yeah, so you port the 3 brick for the 1 ore and then you pop. I didn't want to react poorly. So let's look at it. Red had the 2 VPs like we thought. Blue had the 1 VP. Orange just got unlucky with night pulls. Orange did trade with me quite a bit. One thing I want to point out is dice stats. So 5 rolled 1 time. Now 5 really, really hurt Red's game. I did respect Orange's setup, and you'll hear me talk about that earlier, but I do recognize that 5's not rolling kind of saved us from Red, because Red had a really under-the-radar setup. 9s did not hit consistently, and 9s were really impactful for every player except us. Well, toward the end, of course, the 9 wheat helped. 4s overrolled quite a bit. That helped everyone, but 10 was a massive roll, which, I mean, it did play a part, because this was never settled, but it did play a part in Red's setup. But, yeah, interesting little skewed dice there. But we got really good on the pulls. So I just want to give you guys a quick recap. We went over everything we needed to do this game, which was 6-3-11. 8-3-4, we did a road settle, we did a city, and we popped, we recognized that army was going to get locked and held by orange, and looked at an alternative win condition, which was getting a road, since nobody else was challenging that, and then establishing 2 points on the board, which was either going to be a city and another city, or a city and a road settle on the 3. So kind of wanted to give you guys a quick little intro, first video. Again, this will probably be unedited, if not very minimal edited at all, or editing, sorry, excuse me. But yeah, if you guys like this kind of stuff, definitely let me know. This is quick and easy for me to do, maybe takes half an hour, 45 minutes. And I'll bang these out if you guys want to watch them, because like I said, the stuff that I'm really trying to make, the edited, like, high quality stuff with like all the VODs and the tutorials and like the breakdowns and animations and stuff, that takes weeks to make. So that's something I can do this quick and easy, put that on the side. I just want to make sure that the engagement is there and that you guys are actually enjoying the content. So do let me know. Like I said, I'm going to be uploading this shortly, and yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Take care, guys.